This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. What have I got for you today then? Well, this is a bit of a viewer request. Sort of. I say that because I'd already made my mind up to do a video on this topic before I got the request, so that just kind of reinforced it really. What we're talking about today is funk. A little bit of funky strumming kind of stuff, a bit like this. And you'll see the full demonstration piece that you just saw a little clip of there right after I've explained the chords that I'm going to be using and the strumming techniques and all of that kind of funky stuff. Here it is. Okay, to keep things as accessible as possible, what we're going to do for this little lesson today is we're going to use what is hopefully a common reference point, something that we will all know, and that's the bog standard 12-bar blues in the key of A, using the chords of A7, D7 and E7. And essentially we're going to funk it up a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the chords shortly, but if we're looking at funk, then I guess the first port of call really is rhythm. What are we doing rhythmically? Well, here is the rhythm that we're going to be playing. And just in case reading rhythm notation isn't something that you've devoted a lot of time to up to now, let's have a little bit of a look at what that actually means in terms of counting it and playing it. Here it is. You can see that we're based upon semiquavers or 16th notes, which are counted 1E and A, 2E and A, 3E and A, 4E and A. Okay, that's the basic count. And that is accompanied with, alternating down and up strokes, 1E and A, 2E and A, and so on. Now, the red and green arrows in this diagram here signify where you are hitting the strings and getting a sound out of the chord like this. That's green, okay? And where you're taking the pressure off the chord and muting it, it's going to be shown as a red arrow, like that. So red, green. That's the significance of the colours there. And what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to demonstrate the rhythm just on a simple A bar chord like this, and we're going to break it down into one beat chunks. So if we look at the first beat, it's going 1E, where we're muting on the first down and up strokes, and then the and A, we're getting a sound out of the chord. We're pressing the chord on. So if that's not a technique that you are that familiar with doing, kind of getting that on-off switch for the chord, muted and then unmuted, then that's definitely something you need to practice. A good little exercise there is to create a basic sort of ska rhythm where you're getting just that kind of thing, just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and mute all the downstrokes. Like that. It's good practice for getting that sort of on-off muting kind of technique. But let's assume that, you've kind of got that, or you've spent a bit of time doing it and you're okay with it. Let's have a look at that first beat again. So it's going... There we go. Now the second beat is exactly the opposite. What we're going to do on the second beat is get a chord on the unmuted chord on the first down and up stroke, and then mute the second down and up stroke, the and A, if you like. So that's going to go. So you put those first two beats together, the first beat and the second beat, and you get that. Okay, the third beat, we have something a little bit different. On the third beat, we're going to hit the chord on the downstroke on the 3. Then the next two strokes, the up and down, the E, and we're going to basically mute those. And then the final downstroke we're going to, the final upstroke we're going to hit. So that's going to go like that. And then beat 4 is the same as beat 1, I believe. That's going to go. So here's all of the beats separately. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. And you string all that together and you get this rhythm. Like that, okay, just pressing the chord on and letting it off just to kind of get that mute, unmute kind of sound. Anywhere where you've got 2 consecutive strokes that are being hit, like on the back end of beat 1 with the and on beat 1, what you can do is you can put a little slide in there so you get like that. Obviously, when I'm doing the slide, I'm missing the strings with this hand, then just to kind of create that effect. So, you know. That kind of thing is what it sounds like when you get it up to speed. But think of that as something that you can do once you've got the rhythm, you know, second nature and pretty well established. And that's basically the rhythm. I'm improvising around that and doing various little kind of variations on it just as the mood takes me as I'm playing through the demonstration that you're going to see shortly. Now let's talk about the chords. There's a lot of chord substitution going on in here, and I don't really want to get heavily into the theory of that right now. But let's just kind of have a brief look at it, okay? A7 is one of the main chords in this, and I can play an A7 like that. But that's too big and too kind of clunky and too fat sounding for this sort of light touch funky kind of sound we're going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of chords that are related to the A7. And, you know, you often see blues guitarists using this 9th chord shape here. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little E minor triad living in that A7, in that A9th chord. And maybe if I was to do maybe an A13th as well. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little F sharp minor triad living in there. So what I'm saying is that if you kind of dress an A7 up in some fancy clothes and get an A9th or an A13th, there are other chords lurking within that that chord there. And once you know the relationship, you can sort of just utilize that. So for an A7 chord, there's me A root note. I'm using an E minor and an F sharp minor chord, okay, as substitutes. So A7 gives me E minor and F sharp minor. So anywhere I can find an E minor or an F sharp minor shape, maybe like an F sharp minor there and an E minor there, or an F sharp minor shape there and an E minor there, I can use those chords as a substitute for the A7 and get maybe something like 2, 3, 4. Play that over the top of a bass line that's giving the impression of an A7, and that's going to work. And then just transpose that into D7. So D7, remember for the A7 we had, there's the A root note, we had E minor and F sharp minor. Well, you know, for the D7, there's a D root note there. That's going to be A minor and B minor. So, you know, just there's a B minor chord there, an A minor chord there. So over a D bass note. So just think about just ways that you can find those substitute chords on the neck. And let's not forget as well that we also have the obvious candidates of like maybe this A7 shape down here, this kind of thing. Okay, I could use that for the A7, but I tend to bring it up here and transpose it up the neck so I can use it for a D7. Or maybe the E7. This D7 shape down here, just this kind of cowboy chord shape, if I move it up to here, it becomes an A7. 2, 3, 4. Combine that with some of those substitutions. That kind of thing. You can see how you can, once you gain a vocabulary of these simple little moves that I've just outlined, that you can improvise a rhythm guitar part almost as freely as a lead guitarist can improvise their lead guitar part. Anyway, that's enough blethering from me. Here's all of this in action. It's going to go 3 times through the 12-bar blues chord sequence, and you'll see all of this stuff happening here. You'll hear the rhythm, you'll hear how I'm putting little variations in on the rhythm just as the mood takes me, and well, here it is. So there you have it. Hopefully you could see, as I was doing that demonstration there, that the imperative thing really is to keep the wrist on your strumming arm really kind of loose and relaxed. If you tense up at all in your strumming arm, then it's going to be like trying to push a car with a handbrake on. It's just not going to work. As always, the tab for that whole rhythm guitar part there, along with the bass and drums backing track, is up on my Patreon page. As a special thank you to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters. It's only $3 a month and you get all of these little resources for these YouTube lessons that I put up, so check it out. There are other ways you can support the channel as well. You can enroll on a course, you can buy some of my wife's lovely handmade jewellery. All of the links are down in the description, and thank you in advance if you choose to support me like that. It helps keep the lights on around here. And that's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video, found it useful, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and why not give me a like while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream on Friday, 5 PM UK time. It's all about having a bit of a chat and a couple of beers and just sitting around like a bunch of middle-aged men putting the world to rights, and it's a great way to kick off the weekend. Hope to see many of you there. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you for watching, thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time around. Stay well, folks, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.